At church this morning, he talked about the parable of the sower, which impacted me greatly. I was definitely meant to be in my church at this time to hear Father Jared speak on this topic. It's something that is very closely tied to what I talk about all the time with my coaching. And I felt inspired and enlightened to bring it forth to you today as well. So real quick, Jesus went out and sat beside the sea. Such great crowds gathered around him that he got on the boat and sat there, while the whole crowd stood on a bench. He told them many things in parables, because we all love to hear things in stories, saying, "Listen, the sower went out to sow. As he sowed, some seeds fell on the path. The birds came along and ate them up. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil. They sprang up quickly. But since they had no depth of soil, when the sun rose, they were scorched. And since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. The other seeds fell on good soil and brought forth grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Let anyone with ears listen." It's the word of God is what is being sown about. So hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown into the heart. This is what was sown on the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet such a person has no root, but endures only for a while. And when trouble or persecution arises on account of the word, that person immediately falls away. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but cares of the world and the lure of wealth, and it chokes out the word, and it yields nothing. But as for what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields, in one case 100-fold, and another 60, and in another 30. So that was the gospel of the Lord this morning. I think of how many stories I know from throughout my life where these circumstances exist. You hear something, or you know that there's a message, and you keep meaning to go back to it. You keep meaning to go back to it. You don't have time. You're busy. You didn't open that email. You didn't make that phone call. All these little things keep you from going to the word, to the light, to do what you were intended to do, and you lose focus and purpose. So this is the seeds that were sown where the birds caught them. We're so busy with distractions that we don't catch on to it. It's taken away and just flitters. Out of thought, out of mind. On the rocky ground, I can think of many stories of this. The seed on the rocky ground doesn't have root, but it has this initial enthusiasm and joy and splendor. And it's like whenever you go to one of those talks in a convention center, you're gathered around all these people, amazing motivational speakers, and you are ready to take action. You're fired up. You get home, and well, you did good for a while. You were doing the mirror work or whatever it was, but whatever message that you took away, you were doing things to practice it and keep it alive. But then you got busy with something else, or someone else was like, "Why are you doing that? That's a waste of time." And instead of listening to your own heart that knew that you were on the right direction, that you were doing this for you and yourself to make your relationship with that which is greater, even greater. And you didn't pay attention to that. You let someone else's opinion stop you. Or maybe it just got tough one day. And so that day you didn't do it. And so next thing you know, you're not doing it the next day or the next day. The third is the thorns that were sown into the thorns. They're choked. There's no one to nurture them. You know about it. You see it. They're there, but the thorns don't let in the light. The thorns prevent growth. They prevent the taking over of your entire embodiment with the seed that is sown directly into you. Whether it's because there's so much scarcity in your life that you have formed a belief that you're not worthy, that you don't deserve things, a belief that you're set apart and not special, a belief that you don't belong, that you're too much, that you're not enough, that no one's going to listen to you, that if that's the case, or either way, the world is choking you out because you're paying attention to what's here in this physical with us, making the money, doing the things, living the life, just getting by. So those thorns are choking out the message, and you're not being able to see it into fruition. Now, for the seeds that landed in the good soil, and sometimes I believe this wholeheartedly. Maybe they took root earlier, but then you got distracted by the birds. Then the thorns got in the way. Then the rocks plummeted upon you. But then you become ready and you really lean in and you work on that relationship with yourself and with God. And the next thing you know, things are working well for you. See, also in today's reading was a story from Isaiah. And it says, "For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall burst into song, and all the trees in the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn shall come up a cypress. Instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle. And it shall be to the Lord for memorial, an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off." So taking that and recognizing to practice daily, knowing that the world is celebrating and supporting you, knowing that God has his seed sown within you, that you are on purpose, that you have intent, that the love that he has for you is like no other love you've ever known. Letting go of the physical world that we live in, and the troubles and the griefs and the excuses and the pain and the suffering. If that's all we're focusing on, we're not letting in the light. We're not living in our spirit. We're not allowing that seed to flourish, to multiply, to take over. So the shadows get darker and deeper, and the light seems further and further behind. So what I'm taking away from this is I want to share a message to hone all the excitement that you get from that initial encounter and practice staying in it daily. Pray, meditate, contemplate, question, but believe. Believe in the power of that seed planted within you. Believe in how magnificent you truly are. And once you start believing that, others shall see it too. And through you, another shall grow and be able to nurture their truth, their relationship, their lives. Not just for them, but for them and those that they break bread with. Thank you for your time. I tried not to go too long. And just know I love you. And always praying for you, always believing that you are worth the time and effort to nurture. That it's not just a fleeting moment that happened that you just lost control. So that meant that wasn't meant for you. Because God's greatness is meant for you. Even if you don't call him God, I'm going to. That's Jesus is my dude. But that belief in something that is greater, hold it with you. Nurture it. Nurture it from within. And let yourself be a beautiful flower, grain of wheat, whatever, so that we can go forth and spread some light and sunshine among others. Thanks be to God.